We're on the road with Gus and Wilson, and an opportunity came up to work on some stud manners. There was a mare in season at the clinic, so we brought her over beside the fence. That gave me the perfect opportunity to have a conversation. Stud manners aren't really about keeping him away from a mare. It's about helping him understand what matters most in that moment. Gus has found a mare in season. Rather than fighting that instinct, I'm going to redirect his attention using the same communication patterns we've been building since he was a yearling. I'm not trying to change his instincts. Those instincts are part of being a horse. I'm teaching him that even when the environment gets electric, leadership still determines his direction, his speed, and the location I assign him. Once he understands and believes in my leadership, I can influence his direction, his speed, even his individual body parts, and where he chooses to be. Leadership isn't something that only applies when life is easy. It has to remain the same even when the distractions become more important to the horse. What I'm teaching him is very similar to what happens in a natural herd. If a young stud approaches a mare that belongs to the dominant stud, that dominant stud simply moves him away. The lesson isn't really about the mare, it's about accepting who controls who, the direction and speed. If the young horse moves early, the release is early. I'm teaching him that same lesson through communication. My goal is to become believable enough that a subtle suggestion is all it takes to redirect his attention. As we work through this lesson, you'll notice I'm always controlling the same things: his direction, his speed, and the location I've assigned him. Every time he leaves that responsibility, we continue the conversation. The moment he makes the right choice, the pressure disappears. I'm not trying to keep him away from the mare. I'm teaching him that even when his instincts are pulling him in another direction, our communication still has priority. As his belief in my leadership grows, the level of distraction we can work through together also grows. The mare is simply the environment. The lesson is learning to stay connected even when the environment is asking him to make a different choice. Right here, he's decided to stay in the first pen, but then he makes one more decision to step into the other pen. That's my opportunity to continue the conversation, so I send him around with a little more pressure. The timing is important. I allow him the freedom to make that choice because every choice gives me another opportunity to teach. It's easy to add pressure when he leaves the responsibility, and just as easy to remove it when he returns. This lesson isn't just about manners around a mare. It's teaching him that I control the direction, I control the location, and I control the assignment. Throughout the lesson, I'm always sending him to the right, and whenever the opportunity presents itself, I'm asking for an outside turn to the right. That consistency helps him understand exactly what I'm asking. Now you can see acceptance beginning to show up. He turns and faces me. His head begins to lower. His mind is becoming quieter. At this point, I can simply ask him to make a small circle before putting him back beside the mare. Watch how soft he is now. His attention stays with me, even standing alongside the mare. If he goes nose to nose with the mare or starts talking to her, it only takes a subtle suggestion to bring his attention back. That's all it takes because the conversation has already been established. That's what stud manners are. They're not about changing a horse's instincts. They're about helping him stay responsive when those instincts are at their strongest. To me, that's where safety begins. Whether it's a stud standing beside a mare or a horse that wants to bolt for home, the principle doesn't change. When the environment gets electric, the conversation stays the same. This is just one piece of Gus's journey. If you want to see how these conversations build over time, follow along with the Gus series, where we continue developing his understanding, his confidence, and our communication together. See you on the next one. Enjoy the journey and have a blessed day.